Well, the Friday Five, maybe the last one of the series, we'll see. But these are questions on the English Bible. So see how you do. So these will be true, false for the most part. Number one, as you read your English Bible, you're reading a translation from the original manuscripts. True or false? False. It is false. So we don't have the original manuscripts of any book. Those are called autographs. We just have copies, hand copies of those originals, and yet, to be brief, we have a treasure of manuscripts, and so we can have high confidence in our English Bibles. Number two, modern English Bibles have taken out some verses from the Bible. True or false? And the answer is false. I hope you said false. That comes from some folks who are typically those who hold to a King James only understanding, that the King James Version is the only Bible you should read. And there are some verses and partial verses in the Bible, in the KJV, that are not in modern Bibles. And so they argue, well, these publishers, these translators have taken out part of the Bible. But that only makes sense if you see the KJV as the bar you're shooting for. But the goal, is the author's original intent, right? What did the original inspired author write? And so and by the way, the KJV is a good translation. If you like it and you're reading it, just love it, study it, read it, embody it, and live it out. It's a good translation. It's not based on the best manuscripts. They had a limited number of manuscripts. The modern Bibles have much more to go on. I'm not going to go into the evidence here for this little quiz, but I did want to highlight that there has been a lot of valuable evidence that's been discovered, a lot of valuable manuscripts discovered since the King James Version that gives us greater insight into what the original authors wrote, right? So if you don't have it in the modern Bible, the intent is to have it align with what the original author wrote. So though it may be in the KJV, that would be based on some later manuscripts like 12th century, 14th century, etc. And then we have manuscripts that go back to the 4th century, all right, and we can see, okay, it was here in the 9th century, and then we see it in a margin here, but then we don't see it any further back. Right? That kind of thing is what is done by what's called textual critics. Gone way over on that point, but you get the idea. The modern versions did not take out anything from the Bible. They're just conveying the most accurate representation as they can to reflect the original writing. Number three, why do we have so many different English versions? True, false? The biggest difference in English versions is how close they follow the word order and the structure of the underlying original language. True, false? What do you think? Well, that's true. Well, good, we kept it true, false there. So that's true. So what you have a lot of different English versions, and they fall on a spectrum from, you can look at it this way, from, let's see if I can get in the screen here, from formal to functional over here. Formal would be the translator is trying to stay very close to the underlying structure and word order and idioms of the original language. And then as you move across that spectrum to over here, you have this side where the translators they're still wanting to be very accurate, but they're also wanting to focusing on smoother English. So some people put it this way, you have word for word over here versus thought for thought on this side of the spectrum. So the more formal is going to be a bit more wooden. It's going to sound a bit more awkward, right? Trying to maintain that alignment with the underlying language. And then it becomes a smoother English as you come over here. Now there's advantages to both, right? And so you want to appreciate that. Depends on what you're trying to accomplish. And on that spectrum, you'll have something like the KJV over here on the formal side, in New King James, NASB, and then you move this way, you got ESV. When you get over here into the middle, you've got NIV. I would also put CSB over here, and then NIV. And then as you move more toward the functional side, you've got NLT, the New Living Translation, and then beyond that, you're getting into what's called a paraphrase, like the Living Bible or the Message. So definitely all these versions have their place. Number 4, so true, false. Verses and chapters are part of the original writings. And I'm going past 5 minutes today. I'm tired, I'm old, and I need a vacation, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I hope you're learning something and enjoying this too. I do. So you won't care. So the answer there is false. They are not part of the original writing. Chapters and verses were later added. The chapters were added in the 13th century by Stephen Langton, Archbishop of Canterbury, and the verses were added in the 900s for the Old Testament, and then in 1551 for the New Testament. Somebody named Robert Estienne added those. And so those are put into our Bibles at a later time, very helpful. Instead of saying, turn to the place where there's the burning bush, we can say, turn to Exodus chapter 3, verse 1, right? But sometimes, too, we have to be careful. Like we go from chapter 4 and chapter 5 begins, it looks like that's where the author's thought comes to an end and he begins a new thought or a new section. Not always. Sometimes the chapter divisions can throw us a little bit. So be careful. Be careful there. Number 5 is this question. So sometimes in your Old Testament, you'll see Lord in all capital letters, L-O-R-D. Sometimes you just see a capital L, O-R-D, small case. Sometimes you see all lowercase. But what does it mean? What's it referring to when you see all capital letters, L-O-R-D? What do you think? And I'm way over time. I'll throw myself upon the sword here. What it's referring to is, let me put it this way, underlying that word is Yahweh in Hebrew. This is the covenant name of God, the sacred name of God. Now, some modern English versions will actually put Yahweh in their versions, but not always, not many. Typically, you'll see Lord in all caps. And so that's helpful to know that. This is God's name. And this is often referred to as the tetragrammaton, reflecting that in Hebrew it's just 4 letters. And Hebrew is a consonantal language, so it's just 4 consonants. And the pronunciation is slightly debated, but typically you'll hear the pronunciation Yahweh, God's covenant name. Well, this has been the Friday 5. We went way over 5 minutes, but I do hope you found this helpful. This is good stuff, important stuff. And so I think it was worthwhile. If you would, leave me a comment if you like this quiz format. I think it's kind of fun. Gives me a chance to talk about each point and teach a little bit. So if you find it helpful, I'll continue to try to do these going forward as time allows. And I'd like to also put out some more topical videos as well. So anyway, thanks for watching.